Hello everyone. It's nice to get back to this wonderful training that we have, the free training in graphic designing. As we continue looking at the fundamentals of graphic designing, we would want to appreciate the services which our sponsors are giving us, not forgetting Digital Empire Technologies. We've got Lonto Travel and Tours, Mali ID, and Mweveni Ventures. These are our able sponsors for this program, and we appreciate them for the financial effort and for the financial support which they offer to us as we present this training. I'm excited that people who watched the previous video, our theory part of graphics designing, they are enjoying step by step our lessons. In this lesson, we are going to continue with fundamentals of graphic designing. Today, we are going to look at influences and creative elements in graphic designing. Most of us, we don't know how to become creative. We don't know how we can create an influential post, a post that will attract a vast people, a vast number of individuals in this world. But we'll move step by step, and this is segmented in two parts. Today, we are going to look at part one, and tomorrow we'll continue with part two. Graphic designing is simply a subject that involves intellectual and aesthetic trends that influence the work of the designer himself or herself and reflects the attitude of society at large. It needs to be reflective. For example, design responds to the changing theme that govern the way we view the world, and this is evident in moments such as modernization, postmodernization, and deconstructivism. Indeed, these trends help shape the development and evolution of graphic design as creative discipline, opening new doors of creative possibilities and providing new tools which to meet design challenges. So, as of today, we want to look at this subject in detail. We are moving a step ahead in our theory program. It is important to get to know that there is a slight difference between art and craft. Now, is this graphic design we are looking at an art or craft? Graphic designing is a multidisciplinary process that draws on many creative sources. Some view it as craft. Yeah, we can't complain, we can't say, but we know to say others they view it as craft. Reason being is because one of the trades, they think it's one of the trades of the traditional printing and publishing process. Now, others, they think or they see it more as an art, creative, creating emotions and other things. But subtle, this subtle distinction can be of fundamental importance to a designer. As we'll be seeing in these sections, as we'll see in these sections that we are going to look at, we shall clearly differentiate the two in detail. So now, let's focus on what a design is if we say it's a craft. A design as a craft, when we look at craft on its own and graphic design, we combine them together as a craft. Graphic design is an integral part of the print production process that involves preparing text. That's number one. Not only putting photos together and other things, but starts with text, images, and other content for publication. Everything that you create, it needs to be sent to the public, standard in a format that is required by that client. As such, the graphic designer occupies a key role in the process by liaising with the client and other professionals such as printers, typographers, photographers, and finishing houses. You know, if you become the graphic designer and think you're supposed to be independent, that's wrong, because you need to incorporate other professionals as you are creating something very powerful. You need the printers, people who knows how to measure a type of or a piece of publication for printing, people who know how to type words nicely, people who know how to do photographing. But if you are very careful, if you're very good and you are very powerful in following our lessons, you will be one person who is multi-purpose, who can do proper printing, who can do typography, who can do photographing until the end product is given. We'll look at it in the graphic process, the next chapter which we are going to look at. So, this view of graphic designing as part of print process sees graphic design as a craft. When we get to say no, oh, it's printing and other things, these aspects will bring us together to dig or to signify that graphic design is a craft. Now, some elements of design work, such as addition or subtraction of spaces between letters to create well typeset and attractive text, can be considered as a designer crafting. So we see now how it is now becoming a craft, because you need to calculate the space between the letters. You need to see that these letters are attractive to the human eyes. The moment an advertisement is sent out there, the magazine is sent out there, it will attract the eyes for people to read. You know, when we say craft and other areas, we need to understand to say everything out of our hands should create an impression on the stock. So, with this, it simply views that the designer has a relationship with the client as part of commissioned process, with the designer also facilitating what needs to be done to produce the job. That's craft. That's craft. So when we look at graphic designing independently as an art, we discover to say graphic design creates sticking images and layout to communicate ideas and information to different audiences. Pictures joined together, they are shaped in a format which is so creative and informing, and then sent to different audience. These audiences, they need to be attracted with what is on the picture. So as a graphics designer, you need to use proper pixels, proper vector measurements, good measurements. So craft is incorporated into art. So the discipline is at the forefront of creative thought, advancing the theory slowly on how to communicate effectively and faster. So graphic design helps improve the communication system to be broadened and faster. A piece of an advert which talks about the new soap on the market can be easily communicated by creating something attractive, bright, and well structured. So it's only craft and art when they are combined which can create something so powerful. This view of designing sees the designer as a separate entity who is preoccupied with personal expression rather than being led by a brief or commission. When we come to art, it's personal. It needs to dawn into you. You need to love what you are doing. Okay? Even if you are not getting commission, you are not getting anything, but you need to love what you're doing. The picture you send, the information you send out there to the audience should be attractive, but don't always expect to have a payment at the end of the day. You know, many designers undertake personal experiments and projects to produce self-published work, whether their intentions can be to closely linked to those of an artist. However, two views of design are not mutually exclusive. Sorry, rather. Many designers are commissioned for their unique styles, while other designers adapt their styles to suit a specific commission. It is very interesting to get to know that for you to become a better graphics designer, you need to incorporate these two. You know, the issue of graphics has started a long time ago. It keeps evolving slowly. Now let us look at industrialization. In the 18th century, saw that uh, the issue of the printing industry, which allowed for higher print runs to better production rates. More importantly, it brought dramatic changes to the print and production process as typesetting methods changed to support faster production rates. As graphic designing was incorporated during industrialization in the 18th century, improvements were seen. Let us look at this one example which we are being asked to see. Okay, this example is how industrialization has been evolving from the 18th century. So we need to get to understand that this graphic designing started a way back and it keeps changing slowly until we hit where we are going. So most of us will just adopted what others have been making, creating, building up, creating, just like that. We are not starting things anew, but as artists, as craftsmen, we need to build perfect projects. As we will get into details of our program, you will see that we will make powerful projects before we even finish everything. We would have earned a little money from our simple projects which we are going to be working on. The printing development, the printing press, photo engraving, line casting came across. So when we look at the issue of printing developments, new and faster printing processes presented new demands on the elements of printing process, such as the type used to print, the stock printed on, and the way all pages were prepared for print. It's the development of graphic design. So, as it is, we need to also see how it kept on improving from that point. So, you discover to say it kept on improving slowly from vague to perfect, best, and bright. When you look at this this way, I'm looking at this picture. These pictures from left to right, they simply show how it was the industrialization kept changing in terms of print which was produced. Remember, graphic designing, we say it involves also typography. Typography is important in graphic design. Photography is important. Look at the typography, how it was poorly done. Slowly it evolved. It went to this, and now to this. This is how now things are designed, placed. We are now designing different magazines out of these creative minds. So, when we talk of industrialization, most of the people would want to know more about it. We'll see as we move on, as we explain during uh, the advancement of our lectures. It will be perfectly seen to say certain things they start from without to somewhere. Technology has contributed in the development of all print, all brands, and others. Graphic design, like many other disciplines, is linked to technology at different levels. In this course, during practice, we are going to use Android phones to design, laptops to design. And for us to design perfect things, we need to understand technology. You know that technology affects how designs are produced, and it also influences development in style, art, and society as a whole, which in turn are reflected in the form of design text. Technology also offers designers a variety of media outlets for their projects. We've got examples. When you're done with your project, this course will introduce you to a certain portfolio where people will come to you and will work as a freelancer the whole entire world, earning your own money. And you just remember us to say there was this institution or this digital entrepreneur called Digital Empire. They introduced to us this and this and this, and we are making money. The gallery, etc. So when we look at how technology has made things to look presentable, you get to know that this technology, it is important to us. This is an old picture, an old graphic designing. But from this, when we look at this totally a very big difference. Very big difference. This poster was designed using the capabilities of digital technology, but this it was just perplexed using digital image that to show something possible. It was a little bit of face technology, just like that. It keeps on developing, but this time around, this is what we have, and this is how we are going to work. These were done by able men, serious ones, and we are supposed also to be serious to create something that will be presented to the audience. So, typography is one of an important factor to influence and have a creative mind. Typography is the means by which a written idea is given a visual form, perfect form, something that will be enticing to the eyes. It's one of the most influential elements that establishes the character and emotional attributes of a design. The visual form it takes dramatically affects the accessibility of an idea and how a reader reacts towards it. So, it is an important aspect also. Let us look at some of the examples of typography that has evolved through years. This is how it has been evolving slowly from this point to this space, the slum below. When you look at this is in 1970s. This was designed in 1970. This is 1970. When you look at this cover and this cover, there is totally a difference in terms of how the set of written words are done. This is clearly seen. This is some kind of primitive. So it keeps changing slowly and slowly. When you look at the classification of fonts under typography, as in this course, we'll give you 2,300 full fonts. A font is paid up there, maybe about a $10. But for us, in our course, by the end of the course, you'll be given 2,300 fonts that you will use to do different classic work in graphic design. So when you look at these fonts, they've been used severally in many areas, but there are some that are not outstanding. These are basic. But typographers, they ensure that they use good fonts to entice the eyes of the reader. As the reader is keeping on reading, it will create a good signal of identification. This brings us to identity and branding. People tend to use the term identity and branding interchangeably, but they refer to two different concepts. An identity is the sum of quantities that are synonymous with the level of service in an organization. Branding itself is a process by which this identity is given a visual expression. Two different concepts. One, quantities of the services an organization offers. Quantify, that is identity. Branding, process in which identity is given a visual expression. Services that are offered by the company, they are listed down in a Word document. Then you bring it up, you present it visually to the people using other means. It could be Adobe Inside, it could be Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and many more. So this identity brings us to a number of questions. Let us just define visual identity so that people can have at least a glimpse of what visual identity is. The creation of visual identity seeks to take key behavioral characteristics of an organization and use them to build an image that can be presented to target customers. Visual identity, targeting customers. So it is divided in three different levels: monolithic, endorsed, or branded. Very important to take note of these three levels. Let us look at monolithic identities. We've got endorsed identities and branded identities. One, a monolithic identity is one where all products produced by a company feature the brand. The brand itself should feature in it. This is the umbrella logo that is used by all subsidiary companies of all products. Remember, we have logo design in our course. In our practical course, we've got logo designing. Very important to take note. Next one is endorsed identities. Endorsed identity is one where each product has a separate and unique brand. Each product, separate brand, but the brand also identifies the parent company. When you look at the branded identities, this is fully branded product in its own right and does not include specific references to the parent company. In this case, products are identified by separate and unique brands, and it may not be obvious who It may not be obvious. We can't know who the owner or the parent company is. So this gets us to our best 2022 youth empowerment, as we are going to design logos, IDs, beautiful flyers, car branding, roll-up banners, book covers, these business cards, business posters, plus provided with the designing and branding certificate. It will be so much an enjoyable moment, which I'm looking forward. This is entirely free. The course is entirely free, and you are free to log in to our website in order to get more free products, in order to get more free courses, in order to get more free mentorship on different ICT services. I am your instructor, Bosiku Kapikanya, the CEO for Digital Empire Technologies. Till next time, we thank you for your cooperation. We thank you for being with us until the end of this lesson for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this good type of lessons. Remember, a theory is an introduction to the best practice. For more and questions, including comments, you can just drop them down in our comment box, and we'll be able to respond to you at any time, anytime soon. Thank you for your cooperation.